A lot of you guys have been requesting a tutorial for "Oh Great Is Our God" by the Sing Team, so here it is. We're going to break the video down to a couple parts. The first part is what chords you need to know and how to practice them. And then the second part is what strum you need to practice. And there's two parts to that. I'm going to be teaching both the easy and the hard version. The third part is how you actually put it together to play the song. And then the fourth part is little things here and there that I kind of add in to, put a little bit of flair on the song. So let's break it down to the verse and the chorus, right? So the verse kind of sounds like this. So that's the chorus, that's the verse, and in the verse it looks like we have four chords that we gotta learn, right? So the first one is a B major. So the way I play it is if you have the 7th fret and you bar that 7th fret, and then you play essentially what is the same as an E chord, but with your 3rd, 4th, and 5th finger. And since it's an open chord, actually, you don't even have to bar. You just need to make sure you have this bass note pushed down, and you get this sound. You can also mute the bottom strings if you want to. Just make sure your skin is touching the strings without actually pushing down too hard to make it a bar chord. And so it sounds like this instead of. Okay, the other way you can play a B is down here with the other open chords that I taught earlier on. Now, this open chord B really only works when you're playing in a key of E like this. So in order for it to work for this song, really, you want to get rid of this bass note. So if you're going to play this one, either don't play the top string, which is really hard, or mute it with your finger. So just make sure that your index finger is touching the string, and it'll touch it just enough that it won't actually make a sound. And if you actually mute all the other strings, except for the 3 that you're touching, it sounds like a B chord. This is actually called a power chord. I'm going to have a video on that later, but B, or this. Okay, so that's the first chord. Practice that, make sure you get used to it. Once you get used to that chord, let's move on to an E. So an E chord, the standard is right here. Right, so it's a 2nd fret, and 3rd fret of the 5th, 4th, and 3rd strings. Or the way I play it, since I'm already up here with the B chord, I just play the open E, which is the 7th fret of the 5th string, the 9th fret of the 4th string, and the 9th fret of the 3rd string. So, and you just repeat that for the second line of the verse. Then for the second half of the verse, you have to learn F sharp major and C sharp minor. So F sharp major, the best way to do that is essentially what the open B up here was, but down to the 2nd fret for your bass note. I can't really give you another way to play that. If you're not used to bar chords yet, I guess now's the time to learn. Honestly, if you can't do bar chords yet, you shouldn't be learning this song. You should be focusing on other songs and working on your bar chords, right? But this is the F sharp major. And then you switch between that and the C sharp minor, which is either, if you play an open chord here, 6th fret of the 4th string. Again, it'll sound a lot nicer if you mute this top string, just like with the B. And then for the C sharp major up here, you have to play the 9th fret for the 6th string, and then you mute the 5th string, and then you play the 4th, 3rd, and if you want to, also the 2nd string, all on the 9th fret. So it sounds like this. Now, pinky is optional. You can just do these 3 fingers. Still gives you the same sound. It's just personal preference. So you want to switch between the F sharp major and the C sharp minor. Or you can do this. So that's the verse. The way I play it sounds like this. Chords in the description, and that's all you need for the verse. It gets kind of complicated though later because there's little fancy things you can do, but anything that I do that's like fancier than what is like the bare minimum for the song, I'll teach those chords at that point, so don't worry about them. So just to recap, those are the only 4 chords you need for the verse. Aside from that, you kind of recycle some of those for the chorus, so that's good news for you. The only ones that you really need, if I think about it, are F sharp minor, E minor, and that's it. So overall, all in all, I think this song at the bare minimum requires 6 chords. So let's go into the chorus. The chorus starts with the B and it goes. So aside from the ones that I've already taught you, the B, the E, and the C sharp minor, the ones that you need to learn for the chorus are the F sharp minor, which looks like this, but you can also play like this, and then the E minor, which is just this E, but with only these 2 strings. So 2nd fret of both the 4th and 5th string. So for the F sharp minor, the way that I play it is I have my thumb on the 2nd fret of the 6th string, and then I have my 4th finger and then pinky on the 4th frets for the next 2 strings, and then my index finger goes back to the 2nd fret of that next string. So you're only touching the top 4 strings, the 6th, 5th, 4th, and 3rd string. And it's 2, 4, 4, 2. Okay, and it sounds like this. Now that's pretty hard. Another way that you can play it is if you just bar right here, and then you have your 2 fingers exactly where they were for my chord. So this is just a bar chord for an F sharp minor. You can look that up on Google too. That one's a pretty standard chord. And then lastly, you can do an F sharp minor 7. So just like how you have your C sharp minor 7 up here, in C give you a feel for how they sound, I'll just do that first part with all the different chords. Versus and then the last one. So I mean, I can't really tell. I mean, I can kind of tell the difference between them, but it's not enough for me to be like, I like this one or that one better. It's just whatever you're used to, so that's up to you. Aside from that, you start with the B, you go to the F sharp minor, and then you go to E, and then E minor, and you return back up. So that's the first half of the chorus. Now that we're back up here, same B again, right? And then we go. To the F sharp minor, and then up to the C sharp minor instead, and then you do an E to an E. Okay, this is the basic version. If you feel like this isn't how I play it, it's because I do something slightly more fancy, but that's going to be in part 4. So, just to recap, E, F sharp minor. That's all you need for the song. So recap: verse is B and E twice, and then F sharp to C sharp minor, F sharp to C sharp minor. Then for the chorus, it's B to the F sharp minor this time, and E minor, B, F sharp minor, C sharp minor, E, and then that's it. So those are the chords. Now we're going to move on to the strumming. So this is the slow pattern. So strum pattern number 2, I think, that I taught. I'd have to go back and check, but it just sounds like this. Down, 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 down. For the most part, the chord changes happen in between pattern repetitions, not during the pattern, but if you can't really get that down, I recommend practicing that over and over again because that's a good skill. So just recapping all the chords plus the strum, you get there you go, those are the chords, that's the strumming, and that's the basic version of O great is our God. So go ahead and practice the strumming, practice the chords, then practice switching between them. Then if you get that done with, practice humming the melody, and eventually you can sing it too.